What if an action camera finally felt like a proper hybrid between cinema gear and a pocket hero? Today we're breaking down the first official Action 6 leak, the hands-on images, the confirmed specs and pricing, and whether DJI just rewrote the rulebook for action cameras. I'll cover the size and design changes you can actually see in those side-by-side shots, the wild new variable aperture and square sensor, the insane video modes, battery life, and real-world durability, and who should actually care. Stick around. The variable f2 to f4 aperture detail later is the part that could change low-light action shooting forever. The leaks show a prototype sitting next to an Action 5 Pro, and the first thing you notice is how DJI refined the silhouette. The Action 6 looks familiar enough to be instantly recognizable, yet it reads more purposeful. A slightly larger face to hold the bigger sensor, a beefed-up rear bezel, and that new dual OLED setup hinted at in the images. Seeing it in a hand removes a lot of speculation. This is not a minor refresh. DJI seems to be targeting creators who want an easy one-handed interface, but also a sensor and lens setup that can actually outperform a smartphone in tricky lighting. Later we'll talk about why the square sensor makes framing so much more flexible for modern workflows. Here's the headline you need. A 1x1.1-inch square CMOS sensor paired with a variable aperture lens that goes from f2.0 to f4.0. That variable iris is reportedly a world first on an action camera, and it matters because it lets you dial in depth of field and exposure trade-offs instead of relying on software alone. The square sensor also gives DJI more framing options for horizontal, vertical, and square outputs without losing pixels. In short, you get better low-light performance, cleaner highlights, and more creative control in camera. If you shoot mixed content for social and short-form platforms, that flexibility is huge. Specs leaked show some bold moves. 8,000 at 30 frames per second with HDR and ProRes codec, 5,300 at 60 frames per second, 4,000 at 120 frames per second, and Full HD at 240 frames per second. Those numbers put the Action 6 in true cinema-adjacent territory while still keeping action frame rates for slow motion. Add Rocksteady 4.0 and AI-driven auto-framing and horizon lock, and you have a stabilization suite that not only smooths footage, but intelligently composes and keeps your subject centered. That is enormous for solo creators who need pro-looking results with minimal editing. DJI reportedly pushed a 1,950 mAh battery that enables over 4 hours of 4,000 recording in ideal conditions, plus support for hot swappable batteries. That efficiency leap paired with faster power management means long shoots and quick changeovers without downtime. Dual OLED screens, magnetic modular rear swaps, and a water rating that works to 20 meters without a case and 60 meters with one make this a genuinely adventure-ready tool. Combine that with the projected price point around $399 for the base and $449 for the Pro, and you see DJI positioning the Action 6 as a direct competitor to the very top of the market. If you're a creator who mixes fast shoots with cinematic moments, the Action 6 checks more boxes than ever. The variable aperture and square sensor aren't gimmicks. They genuinely change how you shoot and edit. If you're chasing better low-light, ProRes, or longer endurance, this one's worth it. So what would make you upgrade? The variable aperture, 8K HDR, or that hot swappable battery? Drop your pick below. What happens when a major drone maker announces a global launch but forgets America? Today, we are unpacking DJI's Neo 2 global rollout on November 13th, what changed under the hood, why the United States is conspicuously absent from the marketing, and what that means for buyers and creators right now. I'll walk you through the hardware upgrades that actually matter, the new safety and sensing suite, pricing and bundle choices, and the political puzzle that could block DJI sales in America by December 23rd. Stick around. The regulatory twist at the end is the part that might change everything for US buyers. DJI announced availability in Europe, Canada, and Brazil, while earlier bringing Neo 2 to China, Taiwan, and several Asian markets. But US customers clicking launch links hit dead ends and sparse English language promotion. That omission is not an accident. It's a strategic reaction to a looming regulatory deadline that could cut off new DJI sales in America. The drone already cleared FCC certification months ago, yet the marketing silence and missing US pages scream uncertainty. If you live in a market getting the Neo 2 on November 13th, congrats! If you are in America, expect radio silence and a wait that might stretch into the new year, or longer. The Neo 2 is more than a spec bump. DJI moved from a single-axis gimbal to a dual-axis mechanical gimbal, which smooths out tilt and roll during aggressive moves and delivers a far more cinematic look on handheld launches. Video capture now hits 4K at 60 frames per second and adds optional 4K at 100 frames per second for slow motion that actually looks usable. The battery rose slightly to 1,606 mAh and flight time edges up to about 19 minutes, while the weight stays under 151 grams, which keeps it under most countries' registration thresholds. In short, Neo 2 is lighter, smoother, and more capable than its predecessor. Where the first Neo felt playful and limited, the Neo 2 aims to be safe and confident. DJI packed an omnidirectional monocular vision system, forward LiDAR, and downward infrared sensing to build robust obstacle awareness. Forward sensors detect objects from half a meter up to 15 meters at speeds up to 8 meters per second, while other directions offer similar coverage at slower velocities. That sensor suite is a meaningful upgrade for beginners and casual pilots who want less stress and fewer crashes. Add a tiny LED status screen on the body showing charge, connection, and mode, and you suddenly have at a glance telemetry that the original lacked. Leaked price points place the base Neo 2 at roughly $260 in dollar equivalent, with a Fly More combo near $430 and a Motion combo around $600. Those numbers are a modest step up from the original, and the bump buys dual-axis stabilization, improved image processing, and the extra sensors. If you want everything without compromise, the Motion combo with motion controller and goggles adapter targets creators who need real-time control and immersive monitoring. For casual users, the base kit still looks compelling for travel and quick vlogging. If you're in one of the launch regions, the Neo 2 is an easy upgrade. Smoother footage, safer flights, and still incredibly portable. But for US buyers, things are less clear. With that December 23rd deadline looming, it might be smarter to wait and see how the regulations shake out before hitting buy. So, what excites you most about the Neo 2? The dual-axis gimbal, smarter sensors, or those new combo kits? Drop your pick in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates when DJI or regulators make their next move.